There is this conversation between the baby mosquito and its father. That was after he had made the first outing. The father needed to find out what he felt and the interpretation he got. Here, the baby mosquito. Dad, I really had fun. I enjoyed myself. As I moved around singing, everybody was clapping his hand. They were so happy, they were enjoying what I was singing. And the father asked again, what did you say everybody did? The baby mosquito said, yes, you heard me, Dad. Everybody clapped his hand. Everybody. Wow. The father mosquito said, no, my child. You misunderstood their action. They weren't clapping for you. They weren't appreciating you. They wanted to kill you. My name is Christian Matthew. I want to remind you of misconstruction. Misconstruction. When an action is misconstrued, it has meant that there was misinterpretation. Either you misinterpret what you hear, what you see, or you misinterpret a particular action. Such actions could be born as a result of somebody's anxiety, somebody being under the influence of alcohol or drugs or normal medication or certain ailment. Anybody can behave certain way. Oftentimes, we do not bother to find out why somebody acts certain way or behaves certain way. We just interpret. And in that case, we misinterpret. We misjudge the person. We do not consider everything around that person. We sometimes are selfish. We are so selfish. We quickly apply everything somebody did as against us, not minding the situation that person is or what that person is passing through. Misconstruction is misinterpretation of somebody else's action, behavior, especially when we do not have all the knowledge. Sometimes in 2012, we were so lucky that Media Associates International is an American organization meant for all Christian publishers, writers, editors. I mean, big name from so many countries of the world. Africa was very lucky and hosted Litworld 2012. Oh, it held in Kenya here. Of course, I attended. The meeting was against October 28th and November the 2nd. But the climax, on the 1st of November, we went to a particular safari where we viewed so many animals and we dined, we wined and we discussed and we took pictures. And I think we went there with about 8 or more than that, about 8 vehicles, buses. And we were asked, please make sure you identify the number. This time not the plate number, but the number. They are big buses. You identify the number. They already put some number at the screen. Windscreen at the number 1, number 2, number 3, number 5. I'm not so sure whether it was number 6 or number 7. I joined. But I quickly noticed, because they want us, find out about people in the same bus with you. So I remember there was one, my seatmate was a Singaporean lady, and a young man from Zambia was just adjacent to me. So we got talking. When it was time to leave, we were notified, it's time to leave. And I ran towards the number, of course, which I belonged. As I was about stepping into the bus, I stepped out again. And I heard people say, Christian, Christian, you did not miss it. Come in here. I ran towards where I was coming from. And I did something. And they saw me come back again, and on the way again, I turned back. What is wrong with Christian? Christian must be very naughty. It is time we to leave. Why are you delaying us, Christian? I will tell you what actually happened. The first time, as I wanted to enter into that bus, I heard, go back and take that picture. Nobody else heard. Christian Martin heard. Go back and take that picture. And that was why I went back. I got there. I looked around. I looked ahead. I saw one fine structure surrounded by plants. What that might be what the Lord wanted me to take as a picture. After all, we are taking enough pictures today. I took it. And I came back. On the way again, shortly before I got to my boss, I heard the same thing I had the first time. Go back and take that picture. That was what necessitated my second turn. And I went back. This time around, I didn't look up. I looked down and I saw something. I took the picture and I ran back. Of course, I entered the bus and with them. November. A few days later, after I had gone back to my country, a question was asked me about that picture I took. Don't ask me which of them. Of course, the second one. How do you think that plant will interpret the action around it? I say yes. It might think that whoever that put that on it is wicked. That was all. After I explained the picture, there was a shrub, a little plant that was just growing. And somebody put some barricade, some wire to protect the plant. Apparently, that person would do a lot of work because as the plant grew, the person will come again and adjust. And why would that person do that? The plant did not know. But the person who took all effort to gag it, to protect it, did so because there were several animals around there, and this plant is so short that any animal can trample or eat it. They eat the leaves until it's grown up, that no animal can just harass or take control or take advantage of the shortness of other thing. But the question I was asking is, how do you think that plant will feel? The plant will think that you are controlling. You are controlling me. Why don't you allow me? There was a time the Israelites told God, say, hello, please allow us to make kings, to have kings over us, just like every other nation. Allow us. You are controlling. And the question I ask is, when God said, you must not steal, if he stole, who will be affected? Who will be killed? Not God, of course. You must not commit adultery. If you did that, you were embarrassed. Was it God that was embarrassed? Who is that person that has been nursing the wounds? It's not God. So it's not controlling, it is protection. I'm not saying there are people that don't control, that people that don't control. There are several people that control, and we see that as a mental disorder anyway. Where are you? You told me you are coming at 5 o'clock now. This is 5:02. You are not home. Where are you now? And a husband might call the wife 50 times in a day. It's just because that it's not secure. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when you misconstrued true intention about you. I mean, what your partner, your husband, your wife is thinking about you, and you had misunderstanding, misinterpretation totally, and that will make you to behave differently. I think in any home, what we should be is not detective. We should serve as checks and balances on each other. And let everybody know that when my partner does this, he or she is doing that because he is protecting the us in our family. It's not that he's just being naughty, it's not secure, he want to frustrate you. No. And one other thing I want to say is, please, if you want to maintain a good relationship, I repeat, if you want to sustain, if you want to have a good relationship with your partner, from experience, I would advise that don't win all arguments. If you win all arguments, the tendency is there that you're going to lose your partner. Yes. Granted, it might be that you are having some personality issue. You want things done certain way and all that, and you must raise questions and you must say, hey, somebody is misbehaving, somebody is attacking you. So, no. You must learn not to win all arguments. Otherwise, you're going to lose that person. You know what the Bible says in the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 7 verse 21? Don't pay attention to everything that is around you in your house. You poke noses too much. You want to hear what is happening. You want to see everything is happening. You're going to give yourself hypertension. The Bible says one day that man will hear his servant curse him. You don't pay undue attention to everything. Hey, let children be children. Sorry, let your wife be your wife. Let your husband be your husband. What is the problem? What are you afraid of? What is it? Anybody has right to hear what he want to hear, to see what he want to see, to think what he want to think. You don't have to teleguide anyone. We all have rights. Don't pay too close attention at whatever everybody does around you. No, and don't personalize it. Please, anytime you are having some argument with your partner, let it be the argument on that spot, on that subject. Don't get out of context. Don't attack the personality of that person. Did you hear me? If the argument is about the toothpaste, please let it be on the toothpaste. An argument, trouble is a trouble. Your partner is not a trouble. An argument is an argument. Your partner is not the argument. Don't shift to personality. Please. And let me summarize by talking to husbands and wives. I'm also married. And I've been in counseling for a few days. I remember my first couple counseling was 1986. I have heard, I have seen, I have witnessed, I have observed things that happened in relationship. When you want to ask a lady's hand in marriage, whatever they ask you to do, you do it. You call her frequently. You ask her how is she feeling. You find out whether she's okay. When a young man spoke to you, young lady, you build your empire around him, and you want to find out, hey, my man, how you doing? Have you eaten today? Are you feeling okay? Say, yes, I'm okay. You could do anything. I mean, just anything. You spend anything to have him or her. But by the time you're already married, you change the status from a husband or wife to an enemy or a competitor. Somebody must compete with. Somebody must fight with. And soon everybody becomes a detective, monitoring each other, because you already have it. You don't care any longer. The simple worries I have is you might soon lose each other. Don't be like the Pharisees. Jesus said in the book of Matthew chapter 23, verse 15, when he frowned at the Pharisees, he said they are hypocrites. They travel, they spend so much of money to make a convert. Just like several people spend a lot of time, a lot of prayer, and disturb so many times their counselors, and just to have a wife or to have a husband. Jesus said in Matthew chapter 23, verse 15, that by the time they got their converts, they traveled overseas to make a single convert. They spent so much of money. They printed posters. They have flyers. They have banners. They had a lot of campaigns to have that. Just like we spend so much, we pay bride price, and we got clothing. We hosted people in our reception and everything, and we have rings on our fingers. I mean, do you fear of being a husband and of being a wife? After we have done all that, Jesus said, they came back home and make that convert twice a child of hell than they were. After we have come back, we now have our husband, we now have our wife, somebody we have prayed so much to have. By the time we have gotten him or gotten her, we now turn her to be an enemy, a competitor. We now detectives and begin to monitor and begin to complain around. I have seen that many years. Many years. I don't know why people do that. It is a phenomenon. But different people will have different reasons why they do what they do, and where and how they do it. It could be medical, it could be emotional stuff, psychological, it could be anything. It could be ignorance. It could be a hearsay. Somebody told you something, and you now think that your husband is the example of what you are told in your office, or your wife is the example of what you are told in the office. Have you now brought him or her to that position and begin to attack him when this person is innocent? I don't know why we do that. I don't know. I want to appeal to you. Please, let us go back to the drawing board. The only person that could tell the mosquito the truth is the father. They are not clapping for you. They are clapping to kill you. Everybody you have met in your office with whom you connived, you cross the carpet against your wife, against your husband, is not a true friend. Is They are just the group of clappers. They are clapping for you, but they do not love you. If anything happens to you, they are coming to bring you home. They're going to bury you. The same person whom you have been, his enemy or her enemy, will bear the brunt. Please, let us think outside of the box. Let us define who our enemies are and who our friends are. If your husband is asking you not to engage in certain things or to involve in certain things or involve with certain friends, and you say no, he's my office friend and there's nobody that can separate me from him or her, just because the person is clapping, your husband, your wife is your partner, because you are the ambassador to that home. You just went to the office to represent that family, not just yourself. Trust. Let us be trust in each other. Trust your partner, trust your husband, trust your wife. That when he or she is saying something, he's not just saying that because he or she hates you, but because he or she wants you protected from the people that clap, but in their hearts. The Bible says that when somebody has invited you to come and eat, and he's asking you, please take more. Oh, you have not taken that dessert? Hey, look at this wonderful drink. Yes, this passion, I just brought it. The Bible says, please be very careful. That person will cut your throat because it's not congruent. He does not mean what he's saying, and he does not say what he means. But your partner is your friend, your companion, whom, unfortunately, they have tagged to be your enemy just because of whatever actions he or she performs. It is a sheer misconstruction, misinterpretation. Please go back to the drawing board. Go back to the drawing board before it is too late. If you don't appreciate what belongs to you, by the time you lose it, you will cry for it. A horse does not appreciate the importance of his tail until it is cut off. The Bible says Esau did not mind, was not careful, was naive about his birthright. But when he gave it to Jacob, he cried bitterly to have it. If you lose your partner, who is your friend but not your enemy, and you slaughter him or her on the altar of your friends, the people that clap hands for you, and you now realize that your partner is sincere, is honest, and that you only misinterpreted what he or she is saying, what trauma, what stress, what blaming, what repercussion would that be on you? Think about it.